You're speaking a little bit about and if we go back to the process of the Stay with the Question self-coaching process, in your book, you wrote that you consistently mistook one stage of the process for the whole process. So when did you sort of first realize that you were doing that with your clients, and what, in your estimation and experience, that was it costing them?
We try and answer questions because we don't like unanswered questions. And our natural tendency is to go and find an answer. And we were raised this way. We were tested at school. If you don't know the answer, you're going to fail. So you have to find an answer. And it becomes such an important thing that, oh, I've got a question, I've got a problem, I've got a struggle, I need to make a decision, I have to have an answer. And I will fight tooth and nail at that moment to have an answer so that I can feel that relief that you were talking about earlier. I can feel that relief of having the answer. So asking a question is and getting an answer is part of the process. But if I allow myself to keep coming back to the question and I pay attention to the answers that come up, but I keep asking, I'll keep coming up with new answers, answers that I might not have otherwise experienced or come to know, because my brain is now looking for an answer. And sometimes it's frustrating because I can hear my brain saying to me, but I've given you 20 answers. Like, how many do you want? But somehow there's a shift. And the whole thing starts to become apparent in lives of my clients when they are willing to stay with that discomfort for a while and understand and come to know that the question is continuously serving them, that they haven't stopped seeking, that there might be better possibilities, there might be other experiences, there might be other answers out there that without staying with the question, they might not have found. And I can't tell you my clients' stories, but I can tell you that the feedback that I get is that one well placed, well found question can be life changing because perspective changes, not immediately, sometimes takes time, but also perception changes because now I'm sitting and I'm okay with the fact that I don't have the right answer yet. And sometimes we feel there an answer comes and we go, that's it. That's the right one. My encouragement is don't stop. Go back to the question, stay with the question, see what happens. Maybe nothing happens. That's okay. But the whole process of just asking a question, getting an answer, going on to the next question, getting an answer serves, and it helps. And it's we in coaching create action items, and we but what I also found was that sometimes clients keep coming back saying, yes, I've done this, I've committed and I've completed my action item, I've completed my to-do list, I've done what I said I would do, and yet nothing's changed.
Okay. So that's interesting because it's almost a challenge of the belief that if you follow a certain process, that this is the process and it's going to get resolved. But taking that as the whole process while almost missing the section of actually finding that right question can sometimes leave ourselves or our clients at a loss for coming to a better conclusion or resolution or understanding, whatever that may be.
If it's a superficial type question, and I don't mean the person superficial, I mean if it's a question around I need to create a strategy for my business. Okay, well let's coach you to find the strategy. Found the strategy, you're happy with the strategy. That's great. If we'd asked a different question, like what what do I need to change within me in order to come up with a better strategy, or what needs to be different in my world and how I engage my company, what kind of strategy might come out of that? And then I stay with that because now it's about me, not just what I do. And how do I portray my own beliefs, my own values into the strategy? And maybe it takes time for that to filter through. And if I keep coming back to who am I in the midst of this strategy? How do I portray my values in this, in coming up with this strategy? And keep coming back to that question, I'm going to potentially come up with different answers that might have more impact, more efficacy, depending on what it is I'm trying to achieve.
Okay, so from a coaching perspective, even this really is like a true representation of that principle of coach the who, not the what.
Because asking the question about what needs to be true for me, or how do I change this, or what do I need, who do I need to become in order for this to happen, then starts to transform people at the who level, and that ideally should take care of the what.